kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. You join me out and about coming to the lovely town of Wendover here in Buckinghamshire, where it's a bit of a sad day actually, because I'm on my way to Hinckley up to the Triumph factory to take back the Triumph 1200 Scrambler XC. It's my last ever ride on the bike, or certainly since I've had this one. So if you're interested in this machine, stick around and stay tuned. I'll give you my final thoughts on the machine. So the Scrambler 1200 XC then, what are going to be my lasting thoughts on this machine? Having ridden it for many hundreds of miles actually, one of the things that I have noticed with this bike, I get to borrow quite a lot of machines on long-term loan. I'm very lucky like that, being a motorcycle YouTuber. And I'm often saying there are very few poor bikes out there, but of course some bikes you gel with and like more than others, don't you? And sometimes I don't end up riding the bikes that much that I have for long term. I might ride my own bikes in preference to them, but that has not been the case with this machine. I really have loved having this. It's a beautiful bike. I've done lots of long journeys. I mean, obviously I picked it up from Hinckley in the first place, which is about 100 miles from where I live, and I'm taking it back there as well. Also went out to Cambridgeshire on it, rode up to Duxford Ayrshire up there and back, and I've been out to see Henry Cole on it in the deepest, darkest Oxfordshire stroke Gloucestershire. That was another sort of 100-mile return journey, whatever. So I've done many hundreds of miles on this since I've had it, and I've been using it as my day-to-day bike as well. So I've really got to know the bike pretty well. And if you've watched any of the other videos on my channel, you'll know that I'm a fan of retro style bikes generally, and I don't really think anybody makes retro style bikes better than Triumph, do they? They've got such an amazing range now. And I was really looking forward to borrowing this bike. I'd done a test ride on the XE, the more expensive version of it, the taller one, but I wanted to get to know the XC because this is slightly cheaper, and for me, not being a big off-road fan, this doesn't lack any of the facilities and fun that the bigger bike has. And also, I'm not a particularly big fella at 5'8" and 11 stone. The XE was just a bit too tall for me, I thought. So I thought I'd give this one a go. And as I say, I've loved it. The standout feature for me, no doubt, is the engine. The 1200cc high power engine out of the Thruxton in here, albeit in a different state of tune, is just a beautiful, beautiful bit of kit. It's got loads of torque. You can ride it really lazily like I am now. Here I am poodling along. I'm in 5th gear, but the engine isn't complaining at all, even though I'm only doing 30 miles an hour. It's a really flexible unit. You can be lazy like this and just lollop along, or if you really want to make some progress, you can wind her up, and this beast has got loads of power. So the engine, I think, the standout point, and then the comfort as well. Lovely riding position on this. It is still physically a big bike, and that means there's plenty of room on it. If you're a taller person, this bike would be absolutely ideal. It's got nice wide handlebars, comfortable seat. As I say, I've ridden it for many hours in a stretch, and I've not had any issues with the comfort on this bike at all. I've enjoyed experimenting with the new TFT as well. Now I have to say, in the main, on retro style bikes, I'd rather have dials than a TFT. I think if you're going to go retro, then go retro. But the TFT on here is the new one that Triumph have come up with, designed for this bike, and I assume we might see on some future bikes of theirs. And if you must have a TFT on a retro bike, then it's pretty good. It's intuitive to use. It's got loads of information on there, lots of different settings and features and functions you can customise to suit yourselves. Really like that, as TFTs go. I like the addition of the spotlights this has got. I'm not sure if that's an optional extra or not, but they just aid in giving, you know, making people aware of you on the road. Also, of course, they help at night in order that you can see in the dark, but more so, they just give you a bit of extra conspicuity, which I like. I see them reflecting in the backs of cars as I've been riding the bike, and you can see that they really make you stand out compared to just the single headlight on a normal motorcycle, so I like that. And also, I found Hickey Grips on here absolutely brilliant. I love the way that Triumph just integrate them into the grip. I don't know how long they will last. It looks like it might be a bit of a flimsy fitting perhaps, but they've been using this system for many years. I've not heard any bad things about them. They work really well, and I just think Hickey Grips, if you can have a bike in the UK, are just a must-have. So I'd definitely spec those up if you're going to get one of these. Are there any downsides to the bike? Well, yeah, there's a couple of things that have annoyed me. One minor, one more major, in my view at least. The minor one is the little joystick that controls the features and functions on the TFT. It just gets in the way of the indicator switch, and whenever I want to indicate, I've found myself having to look to see where the indicator is. It's starting to get into muscle memory after just over 2 weeks of riding this bike a lot. But nonetheless, I'm never particularly confident that I've got the indicator rather than that joystick. That's just an annoyance. As I say, I think over time you get used to it, but it's taken me longer to get used to that than I thought. One of the things I have found useful is the side case on it. It's got one of the leather bags attached on it. Not too sure I like the looks of it, but boy does it make the bike useful because you can just carry stuff. So in fact I think I would consider getting one of those. It's not necessarily something you could tour with, you can't carry loads of stuff in there, but if you're just carrying a few bits and pieces, cameras, a laptop or some papers, whatever, then I found that really useful, or some small amount of shopping or whatever. So that surprised me. I didn't think I was going to get on with those, but actually the side case is really nice in terms of its function. Handling on here is great. You could really lean this thing over and chuck it around. Anyway, let's not get carried away again with the good things. I was trying to go through the bad things. So yeah, the more serious issue with this bike, for me at least, is to do with its physical size and weight. Not so much its weight. I mean, it's not a hugely heavy bike, it's not light either, but it is physically a big bike, even though this is the less tall bike of the two Scrambler 1200s. I've just found moving it around my driveway, moving it around in the garage, it's been a real effort, and that for me would be the deal breaker. So if you're a bigger chap, taller person, you probably wouldn't have a problem. But it is quite weighty up high, and I've just found moving it around has become a bit, well, tiresome over time. And initially I thought, oh, you know, it's not that bad, I can get used to it. But over time, it started to annoy me to the point that I've been going to get other bikes out of the garage, and which are lighter. And I just lifted those up and thought, wow, this feels like this is so much better. And it's made me realise that actually the weight of this, and the way it carries its weight in particular, would be a deal breaker for me. So, would I buy one of these? No, I wouldn't. My current favourite of all the Bonnevilles is the Speed Twin. If you haven't seen my review of that, go check out my review of that. I'll put a link up in the corner somewhere. Because that's got the same engine as this, so it's got the same amount of grunt, that amazing torque and sound, but it doesn't have the massive weight and the massive geometry that this bike has. So I'd go for the Speed Twin over this. But I do love the looks of this. It looks really cool. When I look at myself in a reflection in shop windows as I go by, it looks good. It's just when you get off the bike and need to lug it around, it's just too heavy for me. But that's just a personal thing. For you, it might work absolutely fine. I know one thing, I certainly wouldn't be able to live personally with the XE, because that's another couple of inches taller and would make the lugging around even worse. Again, if you're Dutch or something, it would probably be absolutely fine. But that would be the deal breaker for me. But all in all, I mean, you know, it's a beautiful bike. I am nitpicking and clutching at straws there a bit. That's just my summary. If you're interested in these bikes, don't let me put you off. Go check one out. I think you're going to love the way it rides, the comfort, the handling, the power in the engine, the way it sounds and looks are all absolutely beautiful. So thank you very much to Triumph UK for lending me the bike once again. And I look forward to buying some more bikes from them soon. There's loads more on this bike on my channel. If you've only just this is the first video you've seen of mine, then do check out my Triumph playlist. Again, I'll put a link at the end or somewhere in the corner, so you can go and check out my other reviews of other Triumphs, and much more reviews on this bike as well, including my long-term sort of in-depth review where I go through all the features and functions on the bike and talk about how much it costs to own, what it's like to ride in the rain, fast roads, all that sort of thing. That's probably the best video to have a look at if you're interested in one of these bikes. And I don't just do bike reviews here on the Missenden Flyer. I do everything to do with motorcycles. I do trips and tours abroad, I do maintenance, things in the garage, how to look after your bike. I do monthly bike news. I even do the odd live stream as well. So if you enjoyed this video, it'd be great to have you along. Do hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio. Tell you what, these white vans can half go. Little white van, enough to block my view, of course. And a tiny white van, look at that, it's a Peugeot Bipper. Little tiny thing, but enough to block my view of the road ahead, of course. A Network Rail white van, another Peugeot, so we're doing well on Peugeot. This is a Peugeot partner. Nice. Okay, technically a silver van, and this time though we've gone up market. It's full size and it's a Mercedes-Benz. Nice, classy. So now we're on a full size one. This is a Crafter, looks like it's made by Volkswagen. Certainly carry a few tools in that one. And here we have another Mercedes, a Vito. Looks like a mid-size white van.